What is going on, people of YouTube? My name is Kurtyoy and welcome back to another video. Now, we've got my Premier League predictions for the upcoming season. Before we get into that, my predictions last season, how good were they? Well, to answer your question, pretty diabolical. I got 1 out of the 20 teams exactly on, which is Manchester City finishing in 4th, because for me, I could see Pellegrini just dragging the lifeless body of Man City just about over the line. Pretty much what they did throughout the whole season, just about got there, even though at one point it looks like they're going to win the league, but oh well. Another teams that I sort of got close to, if not, right sort of position, which was like relegation zone, Champions League zone and Europa League zone. I got Arsenal, I picked them to finish 1st, God forbid, they finished 2nd. And I got Saints, I picked them to finish 7th, and they finished 6th. And Aston Villa, I picked them to finish 18th, and they finished last. Who knew? But that's out with the old. Let's get in with who I think is going to finish where. Who do I think is going to win the league? And to be honest, I think some of you are going to call me bonkers when I get up to the top of the table. I just realised how that sounded, not for a bonkers winner, but for bonkers top half of the table. Anyway, who do I think is going to get relegated? What 3 teams? Well, 2 newly promoted teams for me will get relegated. That being in the form of Hull, finished 20th, and Middlesbrough, who finished 18th. In between them, the little promotion relegation sandwich, I suppose you could call it, I'm not really too sure, is Watford as I burp. Hull in 20th, let's get through that. Hull in 20th for me, that just sums it up really. What can they do? I think the whole squad is injured. Steve Bruce is coming back to the club to play in goal. It's getting bad, it's getting really bad for Hull, and I feel like this is going to be a season to forget for them. 19th you got Watford. For me, I'm looking at it, Watford were heavily reliant upon 2 players last season, Igalo and Deeney, if you didn't know, and I'm looking at that, they haven't really improved a lot. They needed more improvements for me. They've signed more defenders, but goodness knows, they didn't really need defenders, it was more attacking players they needed. I don't feel like they've signed enough of them, so unfortunately Watford will finish in 19th and Middlesbrough in 18th. Do you remember that club that signed loads of players, bought basically a new team, and then didn't do very well in the Premier League, called QPR? Well, that's what Middlesbrough have kind of done, and that's why I feel like they'll go down. They could start well, but I feel like it'll only be a matter of time before they sort of draw down towards the bottom. But that's not saying anything. I feel like it's going to be really close to the bottom this season. Between like 20th and 14th, 13th will be really, really close. So it's anything to play for, but Middlesbrough take the last relegation spot, I'm sorry. On to mid-table, so from 17th to 11th. And surprisingly, the Premier League champions top the bunch in 11th. I'm going to go through them in order. Bournemouth in 17th, West Brom in 16th, we got there in the end. Sunderland in 15th, Burnley in 14th, Crystal Palace in 13th, Swansea in 12th, and Leicester City in 11th. First of all, Leicester, I'll get to them in 2nd. Second of all, West Brom, 16th, pretty average. Sunderland, they're going to have nothing seasons. Basically, they'll just sort of fly about. They'll be close but manageable. That's it. But in 17th, we've got Bournemouth, and I feel like they'll be really close to relegation this season. For me, they've lost a few key players. Matt Ritchie being one, Tommy Elphick being the other, and there's a few others that they've lost. But they've also signed good players in replacement for them. But I feel like they are big losses and probably holes that could be patched but not completely filled. And they'll survive. I think they'll survive just by the skin of their teeth, but it'll be pretty close down to the wire. Like I said, I think it's going to be really close relegation zone this season. Hopefully to the final day, really exciting stuff rather than last season where it was, these are your winners, these are your losers, final game of the season. Oh, hold on a minute, no, not yet, because someone left a fake bomb in Old Trafford, so we're going to delay that. And it was Nottingham anyway, so who knows, but waffling aside, Burnley in 14th, let's get to them. Burnley in 14th is a weird one because I feel like a lot of people are predicting them to finish right low down, if not last. For me, no way. Sean Dyche has been there with Burnley and they've come down from it. They've had a good season in the Championship and now they're back up. They'd have learned from their mistakes. Dyche has been there. It's very rare you see a manager go up, go down, then come back up. And for me, I thought that's only going to aid Burnley into having a pretty good season. Again, I do feel like they'll be close to the relegation zone. It could be topsy-turvy, but I feel like they'll be pretty safe enough, and maybe not in the the final day scrap I'm predicting, but they'll be safe. And good news, because I really like Sean Dyche, and I hope Burnley do well, but they'll finish in 14th. Palace in 13th and Swansea in 12th. Palace, for me, they're going to have another two half of the season. One half of the season they're going to have really good. The other half of the season is going to be catastrophic. Whether that's the first half of the season good or the second half of the season good, who knows. And Swansea in 12th. Another mess season. They've had a few good signings, but they're going to lose another few key players. So it's no moving. It's just basically, 2 steps forwards, 2 steps backwards. And they're not going anywhere. And they'll have a pretty average season. And then Leicester in 11th. You've lost Kante. Kante, for normal clubs just lose one player. For Kante, it's like losing 2. Kante is the sort of player that allows you to play 4-4-2 like Leicester did last season, but make it seem like a 4-5-2. That extra man in midfield is huge, and Kante provided that and allowed maybe Drinkwater to focus more on playing the balls forward, and also the strikers to focus on attacking. They've lost that. Whether they can find a player to replace it, whether Mendy's is one, whether King is the one to replace it, I don't think so. And I think Leicester will struggle this season. They'll stay up easily, but it won't be anything like last season. Now we're going to go on to 10th to 7th, and one of the big six clubs is actually going to make a surprise entry. For me, I've got Stoke in 10th, Southampton in 9th, West Ham in 8th, and please have mercy on my soul, comments, and anyone criticising this video, Manchester United in 7th. Now hold the phone, let me explain before you write an angry comment. Stoke in 10th. They've signed a few good players. I've been told very angrily by a few people that Sobby is going to be a fantastic player after saying I don't know much about him, so they could have a good season if what they've said is right. Southampton in 9th, maybe not the best season because they've lost a few key players, again, just to feed a club to other Premier League teams, but for me, I'm looking at it, whenever they make managerial decisions, they make good ones and they, always get it right. I think they're going to continue that and have a good season, but finish in 9th, unfortunately. Then in 8th, we've got West Ham, just narrowly missing out on the top 7. For me, it'll be a good season, but it's whether they can keep Pyatt fit. I think if they can keep Pyatt fit, it could be even better, but I feel like with the money that's been spent on teams above them, West Ham, unfortunately, will just cut short in 8th, and then Man United in 7th. Ooh, this is a big one. I don't feel like it's going to be good. I feel like I've found good players. Mkhitaryan is good. Bailey is good. Ibra is good. But I just can't see it. Mourinho has flopped at his last 2 clubs. Yes, he won silverware at Real Madrid. Yes, he won silverware at Chelsea. But when it comes to the reputation he had, and you judge it on how many trophies he's won in those seasons, Real Madrid fans call him one of the worst that he's ever managed. And he didn't do very well there compared to previous Real Madrid managers. I mean, he did better than Rafa Benitez, but come on, it's Rafa Benitez. And then you've got Chelsea, where first season, he always called the team the little horse, didn't really do much. Second season, won the Premier League, obviously, but scraped over the line, and then really failed there. For me, even with Pogba, I'm predicting 7th. And also, don't put Pogba in your FPL teams. I'm warning you, do not, because he's not going to be an attacking player. He may have a good season, but who knows? Who knows? Now in 6th and 5th, we've got Manchester City and Everton. Man City in 6th, because I feel like, again, don't kill me, comment section. Don't kill me, people are going to criticise this, but I can't see it. I don't know why. I can't see it. I can't. Guardiola, obviously a fantastic manager, but he's managed in leagues where there's just a 1 or 2 horse race. This one, you can't just go to an away day to one of the worst, considered worst teams in the league and pick up 8 goals. This one, you're going to fight and scrap for things. And I feel like it'll be a tough test. Guardiola will have to manage his way brilliantly in. I mean, of course, physically, he wants his players to be in shape. Of course, Nasri overweight and all that saga. And he plays a good passing game. But is that fit for the Premier League? And we've seen by Barcelona, Klopp's counter-attacking style, what them 4-0. Yes, it's pre-season, results don't matter. Arsenal today, I'm recording this on a Sunday, where Sheffield Wednesday beat Aston Villa 1-0, great start to the boys. Again, they flopped and lost to Arsenal. So I'm seeing them finishing 6th, having a pretty poor season, and hopefully Guardiola will stay and just try and mould his way in. I think he can be good, but it's not going to be as simple as the last 2 jobs. And then Everton in 5th. For me, Everton are going to have a really good season. I feel really rate Ronald Koeman as a manager, and they've signed a good player in Gay from Aston Villa. Whether they need a few more players, I can keep John Stones and mould him in well, and keep Romelu Lukaku, should have a fantastic season. And now on to my top 4. Who do I think is going to finish first, second, third and fourth? Well, in fourth, we've got Liverpool. Liverpool are a team for me that really could do well and really push for almost a title. And I put them in the top 4 because I like the way Klopp plays. And people are always going to be suggesting the Klopp rotation and everything. But I feel like he knew, like last season when he was rotating a lot, he knew the season was pretty much over. He was saving his best players for the Europa League. But he knew they weren't going to get much from the Premier League. And he was testing out the squad. He was letting everyone, absolutely everyone, have a chance to see what they could bring to the table. And now he's got an idea of who he wants. He's signed them in the transfer market. The players in the squad he's currently got. He knows who he wants to play. So now we'll see a much more structured Liverpool, and they look very good in the attack. The counter-attacking, the pressing, the lot look very, very good. So Liverpool for me will finish in fourth. Then in third we've got Tottenham. Tottenham again finishing in third, second season in a row. They haven't signed many players, but they've signed good players. They've signed a backup to Harry Kane. Yes, Clinton G is a striker, but he does not count. He was rendered useless last season. But they've signed a little bit of competition for Harry Kane in Vincent Janssen. They've also got Victor Wanyama, so it takes a strain off Dembele, maybe even Eric Dyer in that midfield role. And they look good. They've got a good solid squad. They've kept everyone, which was a big problem. Maybe big clubs would have scouted into the players, but they've kept their players. They may need a few extra things, maybe an extra winger, maybe an extra centre back, an extra fullback, maybe an extra midfielder, who knows. But I feel like they've got a good squad and they'll finish third for a second season in a row. They could push for the title, but they need more signings at the moment. They're just a third club. In second, we have Arsenal. Arsenal to finish second again, and another mirroring position from last season. Arsenal is second. They haven't so many people. Again, Xhaka is the only one. They got, I think his name is Toko Asako. I don't know. There's some striker, and they've also got defensive injuries at the moment. But I feel like they're having a good solid season. One thing that Arsenal specialises in is top 4. As much as it's made a meme out of, he could sign no one and get top 4 like last season. He just signed a goalkeeper and got second. Should have probably finished the league off, but didn't. And for me, they'll get second, which obviously leaves first place to Chelsea. I can't stand Chelsea. I can't stand Chelsea fans. I think a lot of them are plastic. You do get the real ones. There are a few real ones. I'm not going to be wrong. And I would say it's a minority that ruins it for the majority, but it's a majority that ruins it for the minority. But also they're racists. Let's not forget the tube incident. But Chelsea fans, all jokes aside, they've got a really good squad. Signed Kante, which is many people saying it. What? But again, he's like 2 players, so him in the midfield next to Matic will allow Fabregas to go forward. Looks much better. They've got a good manager in, and I can't see anything but them blowing away the league at the moment. And I've said it about Guardiola and Mourinho. It'll be tough for them to get into the clubs and into the league and do well. But I feel like Conte has got a good squad to go back off. He's got solid defenders. Zuma looks really, really good this season. And for me, I'm looking at it. I'm seeing Chelsea win the league, and probably quite easily. There we have it, a really, really fucking long video. My mouth, I'm so sorry, I've really cut that out recently, but I'm so sorry. Anyway, I didn't mean to swear there, but a really long video. Hopefully you have enjoyed. What do you think? Who do you think is going to get relegated? Who's going to win the league, get Champions League? Also Leicester. Where do you think Leicester are going to go? Where do you think they're going to finish? Do you think they can get relegated? Who knows? But for me, I've said my predictions. Time to say yours in the comment section down below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully you have all enjoyed, and peace.